Good evening, everyone. What a tiny room tonight. We could have done this in the conference room and around a round table. Jeannie actually suggested we could just sit on the floor and have a little circle or something in there. Oh, no, it's summertime, so we should be a little casual, and everybody has suits and ties on tonight, but no, it was a little special occasion. Anyway, I'd like to call the June 21st, 2018 regular board meeting to order. If we'd all stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
There's no kids. I'm crying.
There's no kids to lead us tonight. The best part of the... Guys, would you like to lead us? And if you would grab Kelly? No? Okay.
All right, let's do this.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think we should sing after that.
Should see, yeah. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight on this summertime as we kick off the summer and a downtime for school, but a busy time for facilities and everyone else getting ready for the next year.
We're going to do a mission statement?
Yes, Linda, would you like to read us?
Sure. I have to
Lead us.
stand up to see it. Our mission, to graduate college and career-ready students with the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors to personally succeed and contribute to the common good. I'm short enough that tall enough my feet reach the ground, but not tall enough to read.
Thank you, Mrs. Pugh. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll, please?
Josh Hitchcock.
Here.
Jeannie Orozco.
Here.
Linda Pugh. Here. Steve Siebert.
Here.
Naisha Major.
Here.
Well, that's all of us. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda for this evening?
Yes.
Yes.
Are there any changes we have? I think that we had talked about.
Yeah, so based on discussion, we need to remove item 5.2, the James Irwin Charter Schools MOU, given that their board has not yet voted on it.
Yes, and I was just going to follow up with that it has been back and forth between their attorney, our attorney, and their attorney, and apparently have worked out all of that, but their board has not voted on it. So it will go to our August regular board meeting for approval.
So I would move to amend the agenda, removing that item.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Hitchcock, seconded by Mrs. Pugh. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Nope. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Would you like a motion for the new agenda?
He said the adopted agenda?
He
amended?
made a motion to modify the agenda, am I correct? We now have a modified agenda. We need a motion to approve the modified agenda.
I would entertain a motion for...
I move to approve the modified agenda.
I second.
Moved by Mrs. Pugh, seconded by Mr. Hitchcock. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion carries. We now have an amended agenda. Item 3.1. The Harrison School District 2 Board of Education declares a director vacancy created by the resignation of Yesenia Torres. Her resignation was accepted at the special board meeting on April 3rd, 2018. So this evening, we've had committees convene and interview all interested individuals, candidates. The board committee at the last work session made a recommendation to the board to appoint an individual. So for the board's approval tonight, do I hear a nomination?
Jeannie?
Sure. I nominate Kelly Pomus to fill the vacancy of Board Director vacated by Yesenia Torres.
I second.
So I would entertain a motion to approve the nomination of Kelly Pomus to the vacant Board Director seat.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
What second?
Second.
Oh, second. I apologize. I didn't hear.
I can third.
It's
if
been
you'd
moved by
like.
Mrs. Pugh, seconded by Jeannie Orozco. She was quiet over there, didn't use the mic. I am half deaf on this side, so you can throw candy at me and get my attention.
Get to go back to the other side then.
There's a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Let's do this.
And Kelly happens to be in attendance with us tonight. That's kind of a good thing to be able to swear in a new member. For the record, if you would.
You get the paper. I don't, so if I mess up, just forgive me.
Yeah, I was trying to. I'll give you the microphone. That way I can.
Raise your right hand.
Raise your right hand.
Right hand is raised.
Good. If you would repeat after me.
I'll do my
I do
best.
have Remington's tie on, so I think that has set the stage for this evening.
Great.
I, Kelly Pomus,
I, Kelly Pomus,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully perform the duties
that I will faithfully perform the duties
of the office of school director
of the office of school director
as required by law,
as required by law,
and will support the Constitution of the United States,
and will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the laws made pursuant thereto.
and the laws made pursuant thereto.
Welcome.
Thank you.
No clapping in the mic.
You would like to take your seat?
Just didn't want to hear you. All right.
Okay. Yes, it's Mike's. Have them middle here.
Now that she just sat down, the board will break for election of officers. We have secret ballot to elect new officers. So at this time, we will take a recess to elect new positions.
Treasurer is Josh Hitchcock, and our director is Kelly Pomus.
Okay, so Josh is at your table.
We're going to move our gear.
I don't know. Where am I? I'm way over there again.
Sorry, we got to go upstairs.
I'm going to keep it.
Announcement of election of officers. We're
I'm going to keep it.
taking some seats and we'll reconvene. Can you get by?
Why by the right knee?
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I moved
that
you
on
that
you.
way. Yeah, that was my bad.
You get the noob chair.
Chair.
hot seat.
Oh, no.
Oh, you know what? I forgot that. I'm sorry.
Forgot what?
Kelly's bottle of water.
There's one over there.
Oh, there, okay. Well, look.
I'm good. Thank you.
Should have a metallic pink there, else I don't know what else you need in life.
So much.
Well, now that we have another new look up here, there are a couple of additions also. We have our new district leader for the time. Dr. Wendy Burhansel is lead COO and in charge of the district. In a sort of co-leadership position, a dividing of responsibilities. We have Mr. John Rogerson with us this evening, and they'll be seated up with us until we embark on a superintendent search and fill the position. So if there's any question about who is in charge of the district, hopefully tonight will clear that up for anyone. I'd also like, Kelly Pomus has a name tag, so we can, our newly appointed member, if all welcome Kelly one more time, if we could give her a welcome to the Harrison District 2 Board of Education. It's
you.
wonderful to have you on board, and appreciated interviewing you. And Kelly brings a tremendous amount of educational knowledge to the board, so we're very excited to have her in place. So thanks, Kelly, for
you.
a volunteer position. We don't get paid, so every time we joke about doubling our salary, if you remember your math lesson, times 0 is always 0. So,
Got that.
but it's great to have you.
Thank you.
Item 4, comments from the public. Members of the public who desire to address the board on any topic related to board work are welcome to do so at this time. Speakers are requested to limit their remarks. I am reading the wrong one. Excuse me. Anyone who would, any members of the public who would like to address the board, if you would sign the roster at the back of the room, you would, and there are none here, so we will move on to item 5.1, fiscal year 2018-19, a proposed budget. We have item OE6, and this evening we have CFO Shelley Becker to brief us. Thank you, Shelley. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
I see that there are lots and lots of attachments here.
And we will walk through those. Thank you, really, Board of Education, colleagues, staff, public, community. Really excited to bring before you tonight. This is the culmination of representing the past 7 months' worth of dialogue, conversation work, all together condensed in adopting our fiscal year 2018 and 2019 budget and spending plan for next year. So we know there's been a great amount of work and detail and input into this, so we're excited to get to this point. So what's before the Board of Education tonight? There are 3 different resolutions, and that is what you will be adopting and approving this evening, and we'll walk through the 3 of those. I have only 9 slides here, so I kept it down just to reaffirm a couple of highlights as we go through. So I will we'll dovetail into this. Norma, do I have to turn the clicker on?
Yes. Is it on? On the right? On the left. The left side?
I will look over your shoulder for us. Thank you.
Okay, so tonight the 3 resolutions that we're going to walk through. The first one is the adoption of the budget and appropriation resolution for fiscal year 18-19. And what that is the board, by state statute, approving the spending authority for fiscal year 18-19. The second resolution is one that came mandatory for school districts probably about 8 to 10 years ago, and it's called use of a portion of beginning fund balance. And that's a result of increased fiscal transparencies to alert Board of Education's an awareness of, hey, through your budget the next year, you are choosing an intentional plan to use a portion of your beginning fund balance for the next ensuing fiscal year. And we'll talk about that. And then the third one is we look at how we are projecting to spend for the rest of the current year, 17-18. And on that, we're going to talk about our, and we need the board to approve a supplemental budget and appropriation. And for us, we'll talk about that. That was our bond fund, our refunding that we went through last year. So again, within our adopted budget at a high level, this is the general fund. And CDE requires that when we present to the Board of Education, we note any changes as to what we presented to you in the proposed budget versus what is now the adopted. And I know this is at a very high level, but here, as you can see, following the change column, you can see between salaries, benefits, and operating. From our lens on the finance end, we're going through, we have over, I just got the number, over 16,500 different individual expenditure budgeted line items. And when you think about that, the culmination, all of that work rising up to, we're going to talk about how we're 153 million. From the finance end, we're doing a lot of reconciling, ticking and tying the numbers. So the goal between a proposed and the adopted budget is to allow for any changes from May to June, and for us, it's again that continued reconciliation piece. So again, as you see here, our total expenditures are just under 94 million for the general fund. And again, just like to point out, salaries and benefits is our largest component, over 80% of our general fund budget going to salaries and benefits. And that's very right in line with where we've been before. With the general fund, our OEs, we talk about a multi-year plan. And again, a couple of items just as a reminder, and I know is even though we are adopting the budget for next year, we immediately begin the work and start with the next fiscal year. So this is just a reminder as we talk about our future year financial planning, inflation growth at 2%. The budget stabilization factor, the BS factor, as Steve will remind us, AKA the negative factor, that is now due to the reduction in that through the School Finance Act this year being held at 8.74%, or for us here at Harrison, it's $9 million less in funding than we would receive otherwise. A stable, flat pupil enrollment. Para has settled down. As we all know, there were a lot of changes throughout this past year. In fiscal year 1920, as a result of SB 200, an increase of 0.25% for employers. So that is now included in our future year planning. And again, we talk about one-time versus recurring, not only revenues, but expenditures and inflationary increases that we've talked about in future years, utilities, health insurance. The pieces, we look at our 5-year plan, salary increases yet to be determined for future years. So that is not included. So again, here's our same colorful slide that we look at. And again, I'll bring your attention to the ending fund balance, the green, as we go across the bottom. We know, again, just reiterate for all of us, our board policy, district policy now says that we will not dip below a 15 million general fund ending fund balance, and that we will build our multi-year plan with that in perspective. So again, this is as we look at where we may be headed over the next several years. When you look at the pink line, and you see that for fiscal year 18-19, that 5.9 million, that's the amount you're going to see on our resolution adopting the use of beginning fund balance. Because what we are saying here in adopting our balanced budget for 18-19, that we are choosing to spend down a portion of our fund balance by 5.9 million. So I just wanted to point that out because that's how that ties to the resolution. And then within our other funds is we're reconciling, reviewing. There were no changes versus what we presented for 18-19 at the proposed budget last month. So that's just a high-level recap. And here, just kind of a pause for a moment. So when you think about our organization in its entirety from a fiscal perspective, our resolution and what we're adopting tonight is 153 million. So when you think about ourselves as an organization and who and what we are, here's a list of all the different funds, and just to, kind of put that in perspective with obviously with the general fund being the largest. Even though we're adopting the budget, we are moving forward. Our goal is by the end of July to bring forward and have available and post online our financial plan and budget book. And I know those that were here last year remember that our 300 pages, we did a lot because it's also a communication tool. And it's just due to a lot of changes that have happened over the past month. We haven't had the full final production yet. So our goal is to get that done and posted, and you all get a copy by the end of July. Our audit has begun, started officially last week, and that will continue throughout the summer. Auditors will be back in August, and with a wrap-up and formal presentation to the board in early November. We began already fiscal year 18-19 with a financial review, monitoring, and reporting, so continuing that work. As a board, we have had discussions with the board, with all of you in talking about a review of our district fund balance policy. So just a note on there. And CDE, state law, allows for school districts to do a revised budget by the end of January of the ensuing fiscal year. So we know that we have that on the books just to think about coming up in future years. So I'll take a pause there. Questions, thoughts? Any questions?
I'll probably, I have some notes. I'll probably save mine till the very end. And I don't know if, does anybody have any specific questions about any of?
We asked a lot of questions to Shelley in the last month, so just want to throw that out there. I think we inundated her office and went through, I know Josh probably has more to say, but we did. We did harass her a great deal in regards to finances, so thanks for the 8-9 slides after all we put you through.
Oh, no worries. Thank you. Happy to help. I'm sorry. I feel awkward having my back to audience.
I know, I tell you, we should sit in a little circle with our feet all
I feel like
together.
I just take the microphone, go stand over here, so I apologize.
It is weird. Josh, did you have anything?
No, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit with me and kind of baby step me through all of this. So I think you pretty well answered all my questions.
great.
So right now, I really don't have anything additional.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate all of you. I mean, really, from the bottom of my heart, the questions. I'm really excited in this new year, the things that we have yet to come and to do. We've got some good things coming behind, and we're just really looking forward to that next delving into the financial side. And really, I always like to say numbers tell a story. And what do our financial numbers, what kind of story do they tell about Harrison? So we've done a lot of work this year, and we have a lot to look forward to. So for us, this is the big, and the finance staff, I can't without saying Scott, sitting down there.
Thank you,
A lot of
Scott.
kudos and recognition to the operations behind, behind all of the work that we do. Yeah, very excited.
Yay. It's as exciting as finance can be.
We can work on that for you, Jeannie.
No accounting major over there in Jeannie. Well, a couple of observations, and you had brought up, as far as the budget looks at previous years and proportions, comparing to previous years and comparing to other districts, what is your take, your feel on the position of is our budget in line with surrounding districts and other state, within the
Great.
state, I mean?
Yeah, great question. This has been an interesting year because of, driven by, and I know I don't want to repeat too much. I know you all maybe ad nauseum have heard me talk about the negative factor, the economy, but it's been a refreshing change from the past because I think since 2008, 2009, the introduction of the negative factor, it really has been a more doom or gloom for school districts here in Colorado. So this year was one of a pleasant upbeat. And why I said that, I'm also cautious because we're still at Harrison, we're still down $9 million that we should receive in funding every year, than we have been. So to say it's not 11 million, that's better. Now it's only 9 million. So across the state, it's been really interesting just to see, obviously, compensation has been a big piece statewide. in how, it's been some really tough, lean years for school district employees, and couple that with all the para changes coming across. I think there's still a lot of good work to do, and to be honest, I think the governor, the elections coming up in fall here in Colorado, remain the challenges with Tabor. And Tabor, Gallagher, and Amendment 23 is whereas school districts that were, unfortunately constrained when the state is doing better. So we're just excited where we're at. We are in line with our peers. I'm looking forward for us talking the discussion of the fund balance policy. I think when we do some analysis and review and comp other districts and to see and to have those discussions, really look forward, to doing some of that work.
And that was my next note. You fed right into it perfectly. Reviewing, and we've talked about it several times and have just never come to a good consensus. The board really needs, from my perspective, to review our policy and I'm not saying to spend that money. That's not the position of the
Right.
board, but to have some really good conversations about the amount, why, do we look at 90 days spending? Do we look at a percentage of our budget? And with a complete board now and a new board treasurer, I think that it's probably a very opportune time for the board to address that fund balance.
And as a point of comparison, we are the 19th largest school district in Colorado. There's 178 school districts. And with that, we're number 19 out of the 20. But when it comes to fund balance, and again, percentage, we are number 3. So when you think about that, because again, as school districts, we do a lot of comparisons, whether student count, whether debt dollars, whatever it may be. So that's something that I know when my peers in other districts, when we're putting together these comparisons, I get the teasing part of the Harrison, can we have some of the money you're sitting on? But again, why I say that, joking aside, that's not meant for anybody to take out of context, but it really is. We talk about saying, hey, that's local control in Colorado. Again, as I've mentioned to the board before, St. Vrain School District, due to circumstances they had 10 plus years ago, have a commitment from their community, their board, their superintendent, they will never drop below a 20 to 25% fund balance. And that's just their community accepts it. That's where they're at. But it's of that, that normal part to saying, having those conversations, doing the analysis to say, what feels right for Harrison. And so we're excited to, Scott and I are to dig into that work and have conversations and, help to refine it to get to a better spot.
Well, and it's not necessarily that we want to change for change. It's just that when we have every year, we look at the budget, and if that's the most prudent thing for us as a board to approve, we may not change it. But
Right.
without a good quality discussion and options and basis for that, I don't think that sometimes maybe we're maybe having the right discussion. So I think that in the coming months that'll be a topic of discussion.
Sounds great.
Does anybody have anything else for Ms. Becker?
No.
No?
Okay.
Well, Shelley, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We
It's been a
have
great
some
year. Looking
we
forward
have
to
some
it.
resolutions now.
Yes.
So I am no longer treasurer. I always
Oh, I
got
knew
to
you were going
read.
to.
I always got to read all of this, and Eileen would just look at me and go, "You're up." But with that, I would entertain a motion for the fiscal year 2017-2018 budget and appropriation resolution.
It's a lot of words.
Oh, are you jumping in? Okay, Mr. Hitchcock, please.
Yeah. So I move to accept the fiscal year 2017-2018 budget and appropriation resolution as presented, and further, that it be resolved by the Board of Education of School District 2, El Paso County, that the amount shown in the following resolution be appropriated to each fund as specified in the fiscal year 2017-2018 budget and appropriation resolution as presented for the ensuing fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017, and ending July 30, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Hitchcock, seconded by Mrs. Pugh. Is there any further discussion?
No.
No? I would only mention, Kelly, that you are a fully seated legal board member as of now and may fully participate. If you feel because of, if you don't feel prepared for that, you are certainly welcome to recuse your vote. That is completely up to you of your feelings. So with no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. I would entertain another motion approving the resolution for the fiscal year, authorizing the fiscal year 2017-2018, the use of a portion of the beginning fund balance. Do I have
More words. I move to accept the expenditure of beginning fund balances as presented in the resolution authorizing for fiscal year 2017-2018 the use of a portion of beginning fund balance, and further, the uses of the portions of the beginning fund balance for the purpose set forth will not lead to an ongoing deficit in any respective fund.
Second. Are we missing something?
So there's a
Hold on.
motion on the
Time out.
floor. Is there further discussion?
Shelley has a question.
I think I heard the wrong year stated into the record. I think I heard 17,
Should be
18, and
18
it
to
should be
19.
18, 19.
Gotta
So I just
start
wanted to.
On both
catch that
cases.
and clarify that.
You're right in both cases.
So we blame the secretary for that.
It's like I
We're
just sat
excited to get a
down.
budget adopted. Anything we can do to help you, we're happy to.
Facilitate?
We need to redo the previous one.
So we let the motion die. There's a motion on the floor. We'll let the motion die. And I would entertain a motion for a resolution authorizing for the fiscal year 2018-2019, the use of a portion of the beginning fund balance.
Sorry.
Do you want me to read it this time?
No, I got it. So I move to accept the expenditure of beginning fund balances as presented in the resolution authorizing for fiscal year 2018-2019, the use of a portion of beginning fund balance, and further, the uses of the portions of the beginning fund balance for the purpose set forth will not lead to an ongoing deficit in any respective fund.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Hitchcock, seconded by Mrs. Pugh. Is there any further discussion, the resolution?
No.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Do we need to go back
Was
to
the
the first one?
previous one read correctly for the years?
The budget
previous?
appropriation is, that's also 17-18.
I think you should reread the whole thing.
Could we
It
simply
is.
just move to amend it to state that?
I wish I was more adept at Robert's Rules of Orders and changing.
Just-
I'll just reread it
Motion.
just to make sure we're clear.
Got to move it again, Steve.
I would move to, I would entertain a motion for an amended fiscal year 2018-2019 budget and appropriation resolution.
Okay, we're going to get it right this time. So I move to accept the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget and appropriation resolution as presented, and further, that it be resolved by the Board of Education of School District 2, El Paso County, that the amount shown in the following resolution be appropriated to each fund as specified in the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget and appropriation resolution as presented for the ensuing fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018, and ending July 30, 2019.
Second.
There's something else. It's the wrong dates.
What was read was July 30th, 2019. It should be June 30th, 2019.
You're
So we
right.
go from June 1st, or July 1st, now I'm getting confused, July 1st through June 30th. Sorry, Josh, I just caught.
No, sorry,
Did you
we all
catch
read
us
this
on?
and we
No,
just
I
didn't
was
catch
just,
it.
yeah, reading what
That's
was written.
So we won't vote on that. We'll let the motion die. And I would entertain a motion for fiscal year 2018, 2019 budget and appropriation resolution.
Okay.
That-
I move to accept the fiscal year 2018 to 2019 budget and appropriation resolution as presented, and further that it be resolved by the Board of Education, School District 2, El Paso County, that the amount shown in the following resolution be appropriated to each fund as specified in the fiscal year 2018 to 2019 budget and appropriation resolution as presented for the ensuing fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2018, and ending June 30th, 2019.
Second. I didn't want to second the wrong one.
Disrespectful.
It's been moved by Mrs. Pugh, seconded by Ms. Orozco. Is there any further discussion around the appropriation resolution?
Oh,
Did we get it right?
I hope not.
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Now, I would ask, have we covered everything? There's
You
a
have.
third?
Yep, and we just need to do the third one, but you're
Okay.
good, yes.
Okay. With all of us
I
reading that?
don't
no one
have any
caught that?
special wording for that.
No special wording.
The supplemental budget and appropriation resolution.
It's,
We would accept the resolution as whole. I know that there's been discussion in the past about reading verbatim, and I believe that the advice from last time is that we cite the resolution. Is that what is still required? Are we? And I remember in years past that I read the entire document.
That's a lot of document.
Yeah, that is a lot.
And I believe last year, we just simply, we cited the document.
I like doing I like what Jeannie said, maybe we just do this, the last paragraph. The attachment we have in board docs is 217 to 18. Is it the correct
And that is
information?
correct,
For
yes.
19 to 20, or should it
That is
be,
correct, yep.
be clear, which
Yep.
is correct?
The as is stated, 17, 18.
So it's a retrospective thing.
Yep, that sure is.
Just want to be clear. Thank
No,
you.
You're good.
there you go.
Okay. Do we want a motion?
So I just wanted to make sure that the resolution was appropriate for what we needed. So I would entertain a motion to accept the fiscal year 2017-18 supplemental budget and appropriation resolution.
I'll give her a whirl. I move to approve the amount shown in the 2017-2018 supplemental budget and appropriation resolution be approved.
Go.
It's been moved by Mrs. Pugh. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved by Mrs. Pugh, seconded by Mr. Hitchcock. Once again, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Why is it-
Motion carries.
Get him a rubber one.
Thank you.
Okay, we're all humble now. Can we go on?
Thank you.
Now that we're straight, thank you, Shelley, for
Thank
keeping
you.
us in order. We're all good readers, and we read exactly what we were supposed to.
In my defense, I've not read anything.
She has
so.
not read that, nor voted, so
Your turn
there
will
you
come.
go. Wow. Item 5.2 has been struck from this evening's agenda, so we move to item 6, monitoring board performance, annual work plan. Has everyone had a chance to review the annual work plan.
Yes.
That works.
Yes.
Are there any changes, additions, deletions, corrections? No questions about Friday? We have a board retreat with the Aspen Group Consulting. There's an agenda for that. Most of that is surrounding the newly seated board member boot camp on our governance system, and some other discussion with the Aspen Group. So that's coming up. July, there's no meeting. Our kickoff to summer. Legislative updates. I have been somewhat preoccupied and have not been following the Capitol. Jeannie, I know that you're in tune to a lot of what happens. Do you have any updates or anything top of mind?
No, but all our local representatives have been holding town halls to keep us updated on what has happened this last session. And so I believe our local representatives had 2, and then now working on their 3rd series of town halls this summer to make sure that we're well informed on anything that they voted on, including education, which of course is a priority for us. So if we have time, we should definitely make an effort to make it to those.
I believe once tonight, right?
Our local government is tonight, yes.
Now.
Right now. We should have done it here.
Combined, yeah, we could have changed times. Moving on to item 7, superintendent consent agenda. We have item 7.1, the personnel report, which the end of a contract year is always the month of change, which is quite lengthy. Is there anything specific any discussion around?
My only comment would be that it would be helpful to me to have a date attached to when the list is created. I think the question came up last month with, well, we expected to see some different information that hadn't occurred, and it has to do, I think, with the date that it's put together. So simply letting me know that the date was like the 3rd of June, and there's still things in transfer, whatever the date was, I don't know. I would appreciate having a date attached to that, so I have an idea of whatever lag is in place.
I know that this is probably not a fair question for Dr. Burhansel. It's certainly been top of the community's mind statewide. Turnover. This is a reflection of that. I'm not even really going to ask her if there's, I've heard much. I've heard many terms applied to this. It seems maybe not insurmountable, but certainly significant. Would you have anything to add as far as, one, where we're at with the numbers? Are we higher or lower than typical? And once again, it's probably really not a fair question to just dump you on the spot, but if you had something to add.
I would say we are higher than normal, but I would say part of that is coming from our student-based budgeting, where we've created a lot more positions than we've had in the past. Looking at the personnel report, there's also employments in there, so some of it is sorting through where they're, copying each other
And
out.
promotions too. I know that, I know that if you're promoted, you really are kind of creating 2 spots. You're creating the vacancy that you're leaving and the position that you're being put in. So
That's
I know
fine.
just a pure number of this is maybe not an accurate story without looking at every individual change. But just kind of some broad
The priority
strokes.
was to get hired. At the elementary level, we are pretty much in a really good place. We have a few openings in CLDE and SPED and a few core openings. In secondary, it's our math, science again, and CLDE and SPED. So we're working with human capital to get everyone hired. Our expectation is we open with teacher in every classroom. So that is our priority through the summer. We have to get hired.
Fantastic. As far as the administrative positions, where are we setting?
We are hired, except an opening that you created with,
Fox Meadow has a posted principal position. Is that what we're?
not yet.
Not yet.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay. So tomorrow we'll expect to see
But other than
more
that, we
other
are
than
hired.
that. And then with hiring for New Staff Institute, I know that that's ongoing. Do you have a percentage of?
Right now, our New
Position.
Staff Institute number was, last time I checked, was 85 teachers. We're expecting it to be closer to 150 by the time New Staff Institute kicks off, July 10th.
Now, are those all new, brand new
They're
teachers? So if-
New, or they could have been here, they could have started after New Staff Institute started last year, because we do give teachers the opportunity to come back if they missed it last year. If they got late hired, they can come this year and go to New Staff Institute.
Sure. Would we also include those new hires, let's say you have 5 or 7 years' experience from another district, would we see those individuals in the full New Staff Institute, or is there a different portion?
This year, we've been able to differentiate, so they're still going to come to New Staff Institute, but if they're a veteran, they will be given options. They won't come to the basic teaching 101 sessions. They'll get to do other things about Harrison and be with their principal and learn more about our district than some of the basic stuff they might have done in the past.
Okay. That's, anybody else have?
So
I was
you-
just, oh, sorry, go ahead. I was just going to ask, during the hiring process, are you getting any feedback as to the adjustment to base that was made? Are we seeing positive, are we getting a positive reaction from that, or what does that look like?
Yes, I think, just to be quite honest, people who want to be in Harrison want to be in Harrison, which is a good thing. That's a benefit, of course, getting an increase in salary, but we really go after people who believe in our kids and believe in our district. So giving them a little extra is a bonus. I think we've done a good job of recruiting, but really being strategic about getting the right people in the right seats for our district and knowing our community.
Do you have any kind of numbers as far as to the amount that had received an intercession?
I don't.
Okay, and again, that's an unfair, I didn't give you time to prepare. I was just curious if you happen to have a feel for that.
And I was going to say, those decisions have been made based on a rubric that was created. I don't want there to be any misconfusion that arbitrarily numbers are being manipulated, because that's a big problem that should never occur. But there is a rubric that's being followed in looking at it, at background and that sort of stuff. And I appreciate that that was put together in a very short period of time and very well.
Yes, yeah, kudos to Dr. Loria, certainly, and her team for putting that together. I think it was very diligent, very thoughtful, and I would hope that it's working to positively influence those hires.
I was going to say, you were able to get whatever adjustments you needed for the New Staff Institute, so things are lined up. I know as the year wrapped up, there was still some tweaking that had to occur, and that's been taken care of.
Yes, the principals and the instructional coaches and leadership team at the district all got together to make some tweaks, and we're excited about our new calendar. It's going to give our new staff more time in the building, both in classrooms to see instruction happening and with their principal, so there's time to get them ready. Our goal would be that they leave New Staff Institute with at least the first week, if not first month, of lesson plans ready to go.
Thank you.
Well, I have nothing further, no other about the personnel report. Financial statement, are there any questions surrounding the item 7.2, the donation report or financial reports?
No.
And I know Ms. Pomus, not having reviewed those, is, again, very new, so you may not even know what you don't know at this moment.
I'm looking over Josh's shoulders.
We can spend hours talking about it.
Shelley and I will. We'll get together.
Well, with no further discussion, I would entertain a motion for the superintendent consent agenda.
I move to approve the superintendent consent agenda items as stated.
I second.
Moved by Mrs. Pugh, seconded by Mr. Hitchcock. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Gotcha, Jeannie. Motion carries. Board consent agenda. We have item 8.1, the minutes from the May 1st, 2018 work session, the May 1st, 2018 special board meeting, the May 4th, 2018 special board meeting, May 7th, 2018 special board meeting, May 17th, 2018 board meeting, and March 6th, 2018. And I got caught on a 2019, I'm going to assume it's a May 10th, 2018 special board meeting.
I hope so.
Are there changes? Are there any corrections, deletions to any of the minutes?
Are you reading off an updated agenda? I just want to make sure that my numbers cross-reference your dates that you just read, because I'm not seeing those on here.
It should be the most current reading off the board docs.
Board docs.
All right.
All mine say 18 though, so.
Yeah, I've
Oh.
got one that says 19.
Yes, I jumped back and changed that. I had just skipped it and then went back and reread it and added the, so let the minutes reflect that we, on item 8.1, made a correction to May 10th, 2018 special board meeting, where it reads as 2019.
But in the executive content, it's correct.
Yeah, you won't see this in there.
My only comment would be, there were a couple changes made, little things like how many minutes we were in executive session, since we've had quite a few of those. And those corrections have been made, but we've had a little challenge with board docs updating, and I don't know that what we're looking at on board docs accurately reflects the corrections that were made. I'm comfortable with the corrections that are not necessarily clearly reflected in board docs at the moment.
Any other discussion or changes to the item 8.1? Item 8.2, OE3 monitoring report, Christine O'Brien.
She's hiding in the corner.
There was certainly a lot of discussion around, at the work session. We very thoroughly discussed. Again, you were in presence, but not seated as a board member. So do you have any questions about, Ms. Pomas, about? No? Okay. Anyone else? Is there any further discussion about OE3?
No, our new cover page is nice. It helps us understand what the heck's
Do you
going
want
on.
to speak into the mic?
Yeah, thank you for the summary.
Yeah, I'm like the summary. I was just saying it's nice to see the summary and then go through it. Appreciate
To
it.
start, and that format will continue as we work through the rest of the year's schedule with the operational expectation reports. We'll be able to see those, so the subsequent reports will follow that same format. Well, with no further discussion, I would entertain a motion.
Yes, I'll move to approve the board consent agenda items as stated.
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Orozco, seconded by Mrs. Pugh. Is there any further discussion? Comments? No? With that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 9. At this time, we will adjourn into executive session. I would entertain a motion.
I move that the Board of Education convene to executive session to discuss personnel matters as authorized in Colorado Revised Statutes pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, paragraph 4F, and for legal advice as authorized in Colorado Revised Statutes pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, 4B.
I don't think we need the legal advice portion, do we?
We put that in if we needed to contact Mr. Dude for contract advice, is why it's there if we felt that we needed to contact him by phone for that. Mr. Dude is out of town, but he is available by cell phone
Okay.
for legal advice if we so choose to.
And the following attendees will be Steve Siebert, Linda Pugh, Jeannie Roscoe, Josh Hitchcock, and Kelly Pomas.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Hitchcock, seconded by Mrs. Pugh. Is there any further discussion? I would mention that there'll be, from the discussion, there won't be an announcement, a public announcement of any type from this particular executive session. So just for everyone's information, if you're waiting for a resolve of something, it's not the content of this session. So with that, a motion on the floor. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. At 7:15, we adjourn to executive session.